There hasn't been a better time than to wish right now in Genshin Impact, and these are the top 5 reasons why you should spend your Primo Gems today. One of the most surprising things about the current Zhongli event wish is that all of the 4-star characters are Claymore users. Initially, when it was revealed, a lot of the players were questioning the reasoning behind this event, especially since every character belongs to the same weapon type. However, it just so happens that Claymore users are actually one of the highest value characters in the game just because of how much utility they bring. So first of all, Claymore by itself will break Geoshields and structures, and this is even before you consider the element of the character. For example, someone like Xinyan can break both Geo and Cryo Fatui shields, making her an extremely lucrative character for the top floors of the Spiral Abyss. What's also insane is that Claymore characters can stagger enemies more easily than other weapon users, so unleashing your full combo attack can be achieved without too much sweat compared to someone like Fischl, who needs to be constantly on the move and spend her stamina more often just to land few more basic attacks. Claymore users also have one of the highest attack multipliers in the game, so if you're someone who is in the need of a dedicated damage dealer that can stagger enemies, break shields and deal lots of damage, then getting at least one of these characters, not to mention a few of their constellations, could give you a big boost in team building. Just by having a Claymore user from your favorite element is already a big plus, but in this current Zhongli event, you can actually get characters from all the 3 major elements of the game. And it's no secret that elements like Pyro is considered to be one of the strongest elements thanks to the powerful reactions like Melt and Vaporize, not to mention the final floors of the Spiral Abyss giving a huge boost to the element. But it's also important to note that Electro and Cryo are also very strong, especially for creating elemental reactions. It also just so happens that because each 4-star character can be used as your main damage dealer, their potential only goes up even more since they belong to one of the 3 major elements. For example, Razor only needs one Cryo teammate to trigger Superconduct since he belongs to one of the elements needed for the reaction, while someone like Chongyun can activate Melt reactions without too much effort. All in all, it all comes down to less workarounds in team building when you have a strong damage dealer, especially if they belong to one of the major elements in the game. Arguably one of the strongest physical damage dealers in the game, Razor's primary purpose lies in destroying everything he comes into contact without worrying about elemental reactions too much. Probably the most amazing thing about him is that he doesn't really need any constellations to be top tier damage dealer, and he is an extremely free to play friendly character that doesn't have a demanding playstyle and is an excellent starting point for any new player. The only thing he will demand from you will be your attention since Razor is quite selfish. His skills are only designed to help him, and his burst will disappear if you switch to a different character. However, once he is in his burst, it makes you feel invincible thanks to his resistance from getting interrupted by enemy attacks, so your Giant Claws will destroy anything that stands in your way. And if you're interested how to make Razor deal a lot of damage, make sure to follow us on Twitter where his build will be shared. Now when it comes to constellations, Razor doesn't really care too much about them, although they will empower him by quite a lot. However, since now is the best time to wish for him, if you really want to unlock his full potential, then it's recommended to at least reach Constellation level 3 so you can enjoy insane damage output from his burst. But if you're dedicated even more, then Constellation level 4 is a pretty big boost to his damage, since he can lower enemies' defense by 15%, which is one of the best ways to increase your damage. Overall, Razor is one of the best characters for any beginner or veteran player alike, especially if you enjoy fighting your enemies up close and personal. The newly released Xinyan can now be obtained by anyone who's willing to do some rock and rolling. As previously mentioned, Xinyan already belongs to one of the strongest elements in the game, and the amount of value she brings into your team is almost too good. First of all, her biggest selling point is of course her shield that makes the final floor of the Spiral Abyss a walk in the park thanks to how she can remove the annoying Cryo debuff. So anytime you activate the shield, you will receive a Pyro status for a brief period of time, so if you're affected by the Cryo aura that drastically decreases your stamina, you can remove it by using the shield. What's also amazing about her is that she can be used both as your main damage dealer or support. She can provide Pyro shield breaking, and her elemental burst can single-handedly remove the Cryo Gunner's shield, which is arguably the most annoying enemy in the whole game. And because of the way she's focused at providing physical damage support, she is an excellent teammate for someone like Razor. Now when it comes to constellations, probably the most important upgrade for her would be her second constellation, which basically doubles her current critical rating for when she's using her burst's physical attack. But the important part comes next, since after this constellation upgrade, anytime she uses her burst, she also gets a level 3 Pyro shield, which is an amazing thing to have, especially if you're playing her as support. Xinyan is definitely a character that's not only charming to play with, but also brings a ton of utility and power. Even though Chongyun doesn't get enough love from the community, he's definitely a character that will surprise many. Currently, there are no dedicated artifacts that boost cryo characters, but it's only a matter of time before MiHoYo releases something crazy, but until then, there are still a lot of great options to choose from, and Chongyun's biggest misunderstanding comes from his elemental skill. The way he applies cryo buff on weapons can be a drawback, especially to those characters who rely on physical damage. But even if he doesn't work well with physical damage dealers, he is still someone that can either be the main damage dealer or an excellent cooldown support. And the biggest power comes from his burst, which has one of the lowest energy costs in the game and can be pretty much used every time it's off cooldown. What's also crazy about Chongyun is that his first 2 constellations give him really good boosts. Now the first constellation gives him a pretty big improvement when he's the main damage dealer, and his second constellation gives one of the best support buffs in the entire game by cutting down on cooldown time of anyone who's inside the frost field. And it's only a matter of time before we can get more specialized artifact sets for Cryo, and Chongyun will be the first one to capitalize. But to summarize, the current ongoing Zhongli event for Wishing contains some of the best 4-star characters in the game, and one of the top reasons being they're all Claymore users, which brings a ton of value just with that specific weapon. And this is also especially true if you're interested in the 3 major elements of the game, which are all featured in this Wishing event. Finally, out of all the 3 characters, they each bring specialized power in the game, so if you really enjoy playing them, then unlocking additional constellation levels can give very good benefits, so now is your best chance to grab these characters. Let us know in the comments which of the 3 characters in this current event is your favorite one and why. Also, don't forget to subscribe and enable the bell notification, as well as make sure to gently press the like button. Thank you for watching us.